Ladies and gentlemen, for the last couple of months, maybe you were noticing that I was recommending one specific opening on this channel. And this opening is for black pieces. Maybe some of you that are already following me for years would say, do you play sometimes white pieces? Can we see something from white? Yeah, I understand that, but since a lot of people are struggling with black and what to choose in the black repertoire, I think this opening is best and good fit for you if you're below 2000, of course. Even for the much higher opponents and players, 2300, 2400, this could be a nice surprise for their opponents in some tournaments or online blitz playing. So in this video, I'll show you two games. First game is just crushing, and the second one is also brilliant. So we're gonna start. And I was having, of course, black pieces. I played some guy from Slovenia. He started at e4, and of course I replied with Sicilian opening. You're familiar with Sicilian, but now what specific line? We're going for knight c6, and now when they go for open Sicilian, we take, and now we go for Kalashnikov opening. For those who don't know what is this and why we are pushing this pawn, it's because we are provoking our opponent to try to pay a lot of attention on these two squares, which are suddenly becoming a weakness, since the backward pawn on d6 will be a probably a potential weakness in the future, but there is a lot of theory here, and this pawn is not really a big problem. So followed by knight c3, we are kicking this knight out of the way. After they go back, now I'm picking this sharp line with b5. When they jump here, I'm picking this side line with knight g7. So I'm offering the trade of knights, and the most popular move is c4, like this guy played in the game. The best move according to engines is bishop d3. This is something I never seen myself overall online too much, to be honest. Maybe from 100 games I could see it maybe 2 times or 3 times, in this specific line. So this move is very advanced, and people has to be prepared if they want to play this move. So after c4 as the most logical sequence, now we are bringing this knight to the middle. Whenever they give you option to put your knight on d4, just do it. Just because this knight is now immortal here. Even though if you lose this knight after g6, bishop g7 in future, you're gonna get this diagonal open like in the King's Indian. So if you're a King's Indian player, I think this opening could be very good fit for you. So now my opponent decided to take this knight on e7, which is actually a bad story for them. Why? Because my knight on e7 is bad knight. Like, he's also blocking the bishop development. I can't play g6 now because there is checkmate. So knight takes e7 could happen time to time, especially in lower levels, but it's also some sort of natural move, I can say. And after we take back with bishop, my opponent decided to take on b5. But he completely forgot that I can push d5 and open up the center. So I'm not castling, I'm not recapturing any pawns, I'm looking for the activity, just because I want to support the attack together with this brilliant knight on d4. Like maybe some checks will appear here, Also I want to castle as quick as possible. So they're being greedy and taking more pawns here. And this is actually where the fun starts. When they take on a6, a lot of people are mixing up this opening with Benko gambit or some other gambits that are sacrificing the pawn on b5, a6. But in this case, black is almost winning. He just needs to convert this game. And I had some games where people were playing bishop d3. At that point, we just take this guy here. And after they take here, we are simply taking on a6. And we don't really care about this rook on a8, because after queen takes a8, the game is suddenly over. Because king cannot castle, we are threatening g2. We also want to go on e4, give the check, and like black is completely winning here. My opponent went for knight c2. And actually, this is another part of this opening where a lot of people are missing this move, bishop g4. And if they take this guy on g4, we're going to simply take on c2, then later even collect the rook, and then king is in the middle, and we're going to take on e4, then, rooks are coming, and checkmate is somewhere there. Black is winning. So my opponent went for the move f3, trying to block this, but then the point is now bishop h4 check. And I was thinking that my opponent will play g3 here, and that's the whole point. Now we'll play knight f3, give a check, king will move here. And to be honest, now even queen f6 works. We can just simply forget about this bishop. This bishop is not important for our attack. We want to open up everything and now checkmate this king. So my opponent didn't say that. He went for king d2, moving the king out of the way. And now actually this is over, because after taking on e4, I'm now threatening to take on c2 or some discovery checks here. So if they capture the bishop, we can also include the rook to the game. I was calculating something like knight takes c2, and after king takes c2 to play rook c8 check. Then if they go on b1, we have queen takes d1. So I was seeing also after something like bishop c4, we can go rook takes c4, king b1, and, you know, just move the queen somewhere. Anyway, they're in trouble. I saw that in the game. Since this is a blitz game, you can see we don't have so much time. That's the scenario I see, but there must be something better, right? I can play rook c8, for example, or maybe there is some e3 move, as Engine is recommending. Maybe I would find that, but my opponent went for king e3, and that's actually what you saw on thumbnail, queen g5, check. So pretty much the only move is this, because if the f4 goes, now queen takes f4. Look at this checkmate, like this is so funny. So when the king captures here, now king start making a huge walk to the queen side. Bishop b5 check, king d5, queen d8, king c5, rook c8, king b4, queen b6, king there, and now I just won the queen. Like, I could maybe do something else, like bishop d7, and then, you know, queen a5, but this is just the easiest way. They resign and game is over. So what is this? 20 moves, and that's it, game over. And everything started from taking this knight on e7 and take back with my bishop, and here they shouldn't take here, because that allows me d5. So they should play something like bishop d3. At that point I would castle, they would castle, I'll play bishop b7, and the game is going on, because my threats are also something like f5. This knight is perfect piece. b5, we don't even care about that pawn. We are looking for counterplay. If they decide to take, again, we are going for this move d5, and we are trying to open up everything on the king side, you know. So that's pretty much the strategy in this line. This is by the way, inside the course about a Kalashnikov opening repertoire. You can check that link, I think, somewhere up like this. You know, I'm going to put a card. And let's go for the next game. Next game also I was having my pieces. By the way, these games I just played, you know, now, like a couple of hours ago. Knight f3, knight c6, d4. So we got similar variation where after c4 I put my knight on d4, but now opponent decided to take on b5, which is another popular move and sequence. Now we take the knight on d5, they take back, and now we play g6. At this point we want to put the bishop on g7, and then later this bishop will be very efficient on this diagonal, especially when it comes to pawn sacrifice. So bishop d3, bishop g7, and now the home point is after castles, castles. We need to save our king before we proceed with any sacrifice, just because if we proceed with e4 immediately, there's always some pins. And now maybe you're asking why we're sacrificing the pawn, but a huge point is staying behind. This is actually a very strong move. A huge point is staying behind. When they recapture, we go queen h4. So we are targeting this bishop and gaining some time. So what kind of time we are actually gaining here? Why we are not recapturing a6? Pretty much we are not interested for the queen side. Like, just forget about what's happening here. They're also having so much material, so why would you pay attention on this pawn here? Your bishop is better to aim on the king side, right? So we go queen h4, target the bishop on e4, bishop d3, bishop g4. Now we target the queen. So very logical move is f3, right? Blocks the attack. But what they're forgetting is bishop e5. Look at this brilliance. So they can't now push f4 just because we're going to take the queen. And if they go for g3, we're going to just simply take on g3. And I had a couple of games online. They just recapture, we take back, king goes there, bishop takes f3, rook takes f3, knight takes f3. We're threatening checkmate. Or they're losing the queen, or we're threatening this checkmate. So they can't defend both stuff. That's the problem for them. Or if they go bishop f4, we just go checkmate here. And now they need to put a bishop here. So that's game over. Simply, my opponent saw that, of course. So he played h3, which is the best move. And now bishop takes h3. Another brilliance. Look at this. This is brilliant. So after they move f4, which is the best move, to be honest, I didn't know how to react here. I would start calculating, trying to remind on my files, because this is still theory that I was analyzing myself. Yeah, I went that deep in these files. f4, and now I played queen g3, which is not a best move, but it's kind of a logical move. Apparently what I should do here is just bring my bishop back. That's actually the best. And I shouldn't pay attention on, you know, piece sacrifice, because after this I'll just collect the pawn with check, and after this I need to bring my pieces to the game. And I would say that I need to move this knight on e2, followed by some move like bishop d4 later. Depends what I do. Like knight c4, knight e2 check, Bishop takes e2. Like, this is another brilliance. Like, I cannot believe how many brilliances this engine is giving to me now. Bishop takes e2, bishop d4. Okay, I couldn't see that. That's just so deep. Bishop d4, and what about queen takes d4? Now, not even rook takes e2. Not even rook takes e2. Firstly, queen g3. Check. Great move. King h1, and now we take. And now it's simply over because checkmate is unstoppable. Oh my god. I didn't see that again, to be honest. f4 happened. Target my bishop. I played queen g3, logical move, you know, trying to give checkmate. Bishop e4 happened. I found bishop g4 to step back and also now to step with my knight on e2. That was obvious. I did it, and after king h1, I don't know why I captured the queen on e1, but I should just go bishop f6 here. Or bishop d4. So I shouldn't capture anything. I should just keep the tension, because if the queen captures my queen, there is just fork and I'm winning, or I'm winning the bishop. So that's it, game over. So I shouldn't do anything about that. So let's say they bring the knight here. You know, I can go with bishop h4 now. They're still actually zoned, because if they capture, we have knight takes g3. So they should move the queen away. And you know, we can always go rook e8 or something. Like this just looks ugly. Look at this. This is just super ugly, right? Anyway, what I did, I captured the queen. Then I went knight g3. And suddenly I gave my opponent to Brit. Like, my opponent was winning. But that was my mistake. You will not play like that. You are now seeing where I made mistake. But you know, sometimes in attack, you make mistakes. This is actually the first mistake I made when it comes to this attack. And I was a little bit, you know, angry on me in this point. But my opponent actually allowed me here to come back. Since we are a long time both, I'm trying to push for something, and now I managed to actually win the exchange. He found some nice moves, to be honest, but now actually he started making a lot of mistakes. Also, he blundered here the piece, and I simply won. Even though I made huge mistake, let him do something, you know, by the end of the day, I won the game. So I could win much earlier, of course. Without going for anything. I could just play bishop f6 here and just, you know, play that way. So yeah, this is the two games I want to show you. Like Kalashnikov opening, brilliant opening for black. The only problem could be anti-Sicilians with bishop e5. To be honest, this is also something that can say pisses me off when it comes to game, especially to face Rosalimo. Rosalimo know that much. Sometimes I'm more pissed off about a3 lines, and let's say now you play g6, they play knight c3, you go bishop g7, and they're kind of playing this opposite English. It's called Serbian gambit or Serbian attack, where they're placing the bishop on a2, later on going for h4, h5. This knight goes to, I guess, an e2 or something like that, then jump to f4. You know, very nice play for white. So by the way, this is also not so much bad for black or white, but, you know, it's playable. And anti-Sicilians are nowadays more popular, of course, but to be honest now, in this blitz session that I had a couple of hours ago, I faced so much open Sicilian, none any anti-Sicilian, and to be honest, look at the results. Yeah, that's about this video. I'm gonna put the link in the description if you need any extended version of Kalashnikov. And that's it. See you in the next one. Bye bye.